Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another faction ranking video, and I'm taking on what I think is the biggest faction in the game unit-wise. We have 63 Scoundrels as of the day I'm recording this in March 2026, which makes it really hard to capture all of them in a tier list. But this tier list did come out to a pretty much perfect bell curve, with B and C having the most. I'm trying to consider all game modes more or less, but I do give priority to like Grand Arena and just general playability. But I was like Omicrons, Grand Arena Omicrons are going to definitely take some precedence. TW Omicrons I kind of consider a little bit as well, but ships kind of like I'm trying to consider them pretty minor in this case. So we're going to go through it starting with F tier all the way up to S tier, and let me know what you think when we're done. And also a reason like I wanted to do this one right now is because we have a Scoundrel Datacron set coming up, so why not take a look at all of the Scoundrels in the game. So starting with F tier, these are, some of them are pretty terrible, some of them like seem a little bit competent, but it's just they're the bottom of the faction. If I wanted to put like a tier list of the entire game, maybe some would be higher than this, like maybe Greedo wouldn't be F tier but would be D tier. I just literally don't have room to do all of that. So we got Greedo, Clone Wars Chewbacca, Captain Han, Young Lando, Young Han, Mob Enforcer, Gamguard, and Lando. And like little tiny things come into play this low. Like Gamguard got ahead of Lando because he has, I think, a TB Omicron or something. Not that that makes it very useful. Mob Enforcer, they reinforced her. I couldn't tell you what she does now because she never ended up being useful, even with Hut Cartel, unless she has a crazy Datacron, which I'm not trying to consider here. Young Lando and Young Han, yeah, if you get them set up right in a prepared team back in the day, they could do some good damage. And Lando has his ship, but ultimately they are not really that impactful. Young Lando has a special mission, I think, or no, maybe it's Young Han. One of them has a special mission on like the first planet in ROTE, but that's just kind of like a token value to them. Captain Han, they tried to make something with I don't know, is it Santa Staros, where Captain Han had a home. Doesn't really work out long term. He's just a requirement for Leia and Giant Luke, and people don't really care about him otherwise. Or I think he's for Giant Luke. I really can't say. Clone Wars Chewbacca might get some more play with Yoda and Chewie out there for a Wookiee team, but Wookiee teams ultimately are not that valuable. And I did put Greedo. He's in the F tier, but he is at the top because he does have some competency on that that Jabba team, and his basic is pretty unique that he can just keep going on and on theoretically forever, but the most I've gotten is like 5 or 6 hits on it, so he's decent, but yet again, like, it's just because the list is so packed. I couldn't put him there. A ton of people in D or C. And for our D tier, starting to get to units that have a little bit more use to them, but not crazy amount, we have Veteran Smuggler Chewie, Mission Veteran Smuggler Han, Kira, Stormtrooper Han, Cara Dune, Aura Singh, Cad Bane IGD, and Dengar. So I'm not totally considering ships here too much, but it's kind of like the tiebreaker. So all these are in the same category. You can use them, I guess, a little bit here and there. But Dengar, IG, and Cad Bane got their tiebreakers based on their ships. I do think IG-8 is a little bit better as a unit than Cad Bane. He has the droid tag, but Dengar just feels a lot more comfortable. You get a lot of extra hits in with throwing his bombs. I'm not trying to consider his Datacron abilities that come up because he's actually been the target of a lot of positive Datacrons, like level 9s. I don't know why. It's just he gets them a lot. His ship is the best punishing one, but I mean, those ships are amazing. They're like at least B tier or A tier ships, or S tier in terms of punishing one. But the characters themselves fall to a lot less use. And another bounty hunter here. Or saying, oh, and Cad Bane also is suffering from the lack of galactic challenges. Back when we had Hut Cartel galactic challenges, he had some good value for players that didn't have Jabba, because they had a really good modifier, and his lead would make it work. So that's just another thing not working for him. Artising used to be kind of the alternative to Bosk. You just go in there to get a quick contract, but mainly that was if you're doing a cleanup. It's a big tanky unit that's not a GL, and you can snipe them with Mando. That comes up less and less, and I had her pretty early on my small account in Relics for Jabba, and I still just barely ever found a good use for her, so I just don't think her value is really there. Cara Dune, Rebel fighters kind of have room for one team right now, and then we're also getting all these other Rebel fighters in with Cassian that they're going to take Luthen, the big dog. So she just doesn't have a huge spot. I do like her anti-Empire synergy with the stunning and everything, and the revives are kind of annoying. So she does get kind of mid D tier. Stormtrooper Han. I haven't used Stormtrooper Luke too much. He could have a lot more value in 3v3. So this is one I could see a lot of people complaining about, but I just never really get a chance to use him. So I just don't have any strong feelings about him. Put him in D. Same thing with Kira. I know she can work kind of well with Balin, but I just never really do it. She was designed to be a leader, and that team isn't really functional. It's kind of like a defunct team. And then Veteran Smuggler Han is better than Veteran Smuggler Chewie. He can actually hit a decent bit. He's got a stun, stagger. He's got his revenge turns when his leadership dies. And then Mission, not amazing, but she does have a TW Omicron now. That kind of came in free if you had her Zeta before. They converted it to an Omicron. So I predict she'll have some good use in TW with Satele Shan coming out, but as of now, not so much. But she does work well with Zalbar in 3v3 Grand Arena. Oh, and 5v5 too, just with his Omicron. But that is very situational, and it's still not a huge thing. So she didn't even make C tier, which is where we start to get more mainstay utility. The team, we got Queel, IG-11, Vandor Chewie, Son of Staros, Zam, Canderous, L3, OG Bo, Newt, Nest, Mando, and Fennec. So a lot of these characters were a lot higher last time I did this Scoundrel ranking a few years ago. Like Fennec and Mando were either maybe a high B or low A. Nest maintains some viability here just because, mainly because of her pirate tag now, actually. But she doesn't do as much as she used to. She used to be kind of one of the OG solo machines before we had Omicrons and Wampa and Savage and all that. But the damage totals just have gone out of control. And she really relied on being able to get her protection barrier up. And that doesn't really happen as much anymore. And there's not many teams that she can take advantage of. But she is a nice, annoying character on defense. She's got some value in the raid. Mando, kind of like with Ara saying, like, he is great. I do like the insta-kill. It's just the opportunities to get it off are a lot fewer and far between. And then Fennec just feels like a lot more of a solid option to go for in a bounty hunter team if you are running it. With her 5 hits on the basic, some good damage, and she can counter Lord Vader. But those counters are a lot harder to come by nowadays. But she also has a mission on Tatooine, so she merited at least top of the C tier. Newt's a really annoying character. He's actually more annoying when the CPU has him just because of the extortion. But he's a supporting role on the Trench team, which is mainly a TW team at this point. But still, overall, I think he has some strengths to him. And the extortion is pretty powerful if you let it get going. So he definitely felt more like a C tier for me. OG Bo, she's mainly a unique that goes on the Bo-Katan Mandalore team in 5v5, and it's just a lot of extra protection, a lot of healing. She has an AoE Dispel, which has a daze too, but other than that, she just kind of sits there. L3, solid, pre-taunting tank, droid tag, smuggler, got a lot of tags, and has a ship, which is kind of minor in the scope of this, but still pretty useful. Canderous, really nice on that Maul team, although it's only 5v5. Zam is only valuable for her Omicron. That's the only reason she's in C. Otherwise, she'd be like D or even F. Son of Staros, she's probably the newest unit that's this far down. She just never really panned out as a mainstay in competitive play. I guess her TW Omicron can help out in some regards. But mainly what she's been is the subject of random bugs with her unique that players can leverage when certain datacrons come out that always get nerfed. But other than that, she's not a super threatening team. Vandor Chewie, just a solid support if you're going to run a dash team. The revives can be useful. I think more as an offensive tool if you know what you're doing, but that is kind of rare-ish. And then IG-11 and Queel. They felt stronger than D tier, and they're kind of a package deal. I tend to think of IG-11 is a little bit more useful, although he's kind of gated by Queel being there, but they work together pretty well on a team that doesn't really get played anymore, like a dash IG-11 Quill team. So that is the C tier. Moving on to the B tier, this is our most populated tier, the meaty center of the bell curve. Got a lot of pirates here. These are mostly solid units that have something to show for themselves in a lot of different areas and get more on the strong side compared to just being situational. I do have Boba Fett, Sign of Django at the very bottom because in TW he's got his Omicrons. Yeah, he is theoretically stronger. In high-end territory wars, there's not really much practical use that he comes in handy for now because of Lord Vader clones. But he's still, I thought, merited at least squeaking into the B tier. Other than that, we got Embo, Zalbar, Kix, Boba Fett, these two new bug bounty hunters. I've drawn a blank on the names. IG-90, 000, Jango Fett, Grief, Skiff, Lando, and what's his face? I can't remember some of these names. Quiggold, that's his name. So I did put Quiggold at the top of B tier because he's pretty relevant as a tank. Very valuable. Can either go on the Maz team or the Hondo team. I only put him there if I'm really trying to stop like a Supreme Leader Kylo counter. He's really annoying to use and go against because his basic is an AoE and his special is an AoE. He literally only AoEs, which is kind of unique, but his evasion, like his immunity to stun, when having enough profit, is pretty valuable. I do have Vayne rated above him because I think overall Vayne is more of a strong use case, but still Quiggold quite valuable in my opinion. Skiff card I think is really nice on the Jabba team. He's mainly a 5v5 unit, but I do use him in 3v3 with my Jabba team if I'm trying to do a mirror on my smaller account, so he does merit a spot there as being relevant on a team. That's always going to be there. Grief, I just have a lot of respect for his kit. Really useful. His cooldown reductions frequently, the cleanse, the mass swarm, just really solid bounty hunter support. He's like the quintessential bounty hunter support. So if you are going to use bounty hunters, he's usually going to be there. Jango Fett, B tier, solid separatist. He's actually gets more play as a separatist. But he's also a dark side Mandalorian, and he is a bounty hunter, so I mean, he could even go higher theoretically. But 000 we got here. I had to put 000 right above IG-90. I do think IG-90 really elevates Afra to being more viable, but ultimately he is more of a 5v5 unit because Afra needs her two buddy droids, the trash can, and the fake C-3PO. So IG can't play in 3v3, and then 5v5. Grand Arena, and then TW, and then also, TB. There's a special mission that requires Afra, and Afra overall. Is there two? There might be one second rung of plans. I just never played anymore. But he's really elevating that team, and it makes it harder, even without like a data grind. It's definitely a value add. And Zucca's and Forlom. I might be biased against them personally. I put them high because I have seen people get good use out of them, but I personally haven't gotten a ton out of them. Like the feat to keep them alive, even on my main account, is pretty hard just because if you don't have Zuckuss at high relics, he's he's taunting easily and forcing people to hit him, and he's just dying. But I don't know, maybe that's a personal problem, but I still try to get above that, get past that, put him at least mid B tier. Boba Fett arguably could go higher, but he on most endgame rosters doesn't even make the spot on the Jabba team, but I do think he's really strong. I mean, the AoE ability block, the rocket to the face, just really high potential, and his bonus turn from getting the contract. So I really like using him. So on my GoTakes account where I don't have Embo, there was just no purpose to using him or to unlocking Embo, building him up over that. And the why I do rank him above Embo in this list, even though a lot of people pick Embo for the Jabba team, is because he's got some value on his own. Like as a leader, he can do a lot of good stuff on defense, and I just don't feel that with Embo. Although there used to be kind of like a cult of Embo, as they would call it, where people were committed to making Embo lead work. But I just really enjoy Boba a lot, and I think he's more versatile. Like if it's not a Jabba team, I'm not going to use Embo. I'll use Boba every time in that regard. Kix, kind of a vital component to that Maz Kanata team because he is the healer and the reviver. But ultimately, I mean, you could get it done without him. Like, I think if you sat him, you could still win most of those fights. Just use someone else. But he does get the banners back for the Maz Pirates, and because he's light side, I can't really go with Hondo. But I mean, solid. I mean, he's low B tier. That's pretty good. And then Zalbar, mainly because of his Omicron now. Goes with Darth Revan, gives you a headache in 3v3. 5v5, there's some good uses, I think more on offense. Not that I've used them myself in that regard. I haven't given him his Omicron. But still solid. And I've already talked about Embo and Bopet Cyber Django. So that is our B tier. As we approach the tippy top, we have one last sub-top tier, the A tier, which is really good. And for that, I have Ithano, Bosk, Dash, Vayne, Chrysanthemum, Captain Silvo, BT, Brutus, Seer, Boosh, and OG Hondo. So OG Hondo has really seen a huge boost in his viability because he was already a strong character and it was more of like an in theory thing. But now he has two super viable leaders in Maz Kanata and Pirate King Hondo, where he is single-handedly changing the dynamic on either team he goes for. What's frustrating about him is he is not someone you can bring on offense or take into TB or something and hit auto because he will run away. He will run away, and it's the most frustrating thing. But he has super high dodge potential, damage potential, control potential, survivability potential. He's just really versatile. He just barely missed S tier. Boosh is the most vital component to Jabba. If you're gonna have three characters, you're gonna have her and Chrysanthemum with Jabba. If you're gonna have two, I'd probably have Boosh over Chrysanthemum, just for that damage, or maybe not in certain circumstances like that bleak late stage TV mission, but tons of bombs all over the place. Basically a granted lifter unit to Jabba. It's like you would need a conquest unit to get that level on another GL, it feels like, but really, really useful. The deadly bluff is particularly a pain, and that can have a lot of use on teams outside of Jabba, but I guess they would have to be all Hakarta. Seer, she doesn't really work with Scoundrels. She works with Ufus. She is the quintessential Ufu leader, enables Malicos to just rip people to shreds and stay alive. I really like Seer. I think Seer is awesome. You don't need a ton of Zetas. You don't need an Omicron or anything. I don't think she even has an Omicron. Or does she? I really don't know. That's embarrassing. But yeah, and her saber throw can actually one-shot a lot of people. Sometimes I'm having difficulty with Malicos killing people, and she does it. Brutus, I do have a lot of respect for Brutus with how many times he has crushed my Supreme Leader Kylo. He really is one of the best sources of damage on that team as one of the attackers for Pirate King Hondo, and it's kind of sneaky. Even if he's not critting, it's like I've seen like a double hit on his basic for 50,000 each hit, so that's 100,000. Even though it's showing up in red and not yellow, it's a lot, man. BT1. He torches people. He does a lot of damage. So I thought he was mid A tier. Even though the Afra team kind of fell off, it's kind of getting a renaissance with IG90. And he is the star of the show other than Afra. Silvo, he's the sport guy on the Pirate King Hondo team. The cooldown increases, just does a lot of good stuff for that team. And a lot of times in 3v3, he's making the cut. It's like Pirate King Hondo, Silvo, and a tank. He's a lot of times making the cut over Brutus, but I still feel Brutus's impact was notable enough for me to put him ahead. Chrysanthemum, really valuable. I mean, he's really only good with Jabba, but on Jabba, super threatening. He's got a so-so Grand Arena Omicron, but it does something, and it is on a team that you use all the time, so it is kind of valuable to get. And then Vayne's kind of like a Chrysanthemum. I mean, he needs a good leader to be doing a lot, although he can work with Maz as well as Pirate King Hondo, but with Pirate King Hondo, it's like Chrysanthemum that he is really, really hard to kill. And he doesn't do like a ton of stuff otherwise, like he's not doing a lot of damage or doing a ton of support functions, but he's just a brick wall. Dash, put him in A. I love Dash. I think even if you're not running him as like the star of the show as a leader or anything, it's still that massive AoE triple hit on everyone that can't be evaded. It has a lot of potential all the time. I just really value him for his damage and his versatility, and like you can use him on offense if you're skilled with it. Like I think it's just people don't have an appetite for it, but he does have the strength there. Bosk, arguably this is a little high, but I think of him as the best bounty hunter leader, and that I think that still kind of holds. So if you need to get bounty hunter stuff done, you're bringing him in. A lot of protection recovery, a lot of survivability, and just great overall character. And then Athano, I think he squeaked into the A tier, and my thought was that he is a leader to the pirates in and of himself, and he is probably the biggest damage dealer on the Moz team, unless you're giving her SM33. But he's got the revive potential, you know, the foresight, just pretty annoying. So I thought he just squeaked into A, and it was a decent damage dealer. So we have a lot of pirates up in these B and A tiers. That's where most of them have gone, except for a few premier ones. And those top tier pirates are the cream of the crop for pirates. We have Bam, SM33, pirate, Afra, Chewbacca, Zori, Han, you old pirate. I thought he was going to be the pirate GL, just because I was like, who's going to be a pirate galactic legend? Just rely on that Lando line. Han, you old pirate. Cat, Maz, and, of course, the laugher himself, Pirate King Hondo. So I obviously get really annoyed by Pirate King Hondo, but game-wise, he is a GL, and he is really strong. Like, it's not just like a token grant. Although, like, it would be hard to not put him at the highest rank for Scoundrels, even if he wasn't a good GL. But he is a good GL. Really strong against both Jedi and Sith. Even without either of those two on the other side, really annoying. I mean, he's a Jolie Bindo. He hits really hard. I don't know. He's just annoying, man. Like I have never seen a GL get ult so much compared to Hondo, and it's a really annoying ult, but it's really powerful. Thankfully, I'm glad they did this to developers at the foresight to limit his mastery increases to be flat increases instead of percentage. Otherwise, you would never hit the guy. You would literally never hit the guy unless you had an unavoidable attack. Like, it'd have to be Supreme Lord Kylo's poke and his ultimate, and that would be like the only way to do it. But he's just really strong. I mean, I have yet to see his. I'm not quite sure where he lands among all GLs. He's somewhere towards the top middle. But he's really good. And then Maz too. I gave Maz the nod over Cat because ultimately, I mean, assuming I had a full team there, I'd want Maz, and like we didn't have a GL to put them with, I'd want Maz over Cat. Like, I have learned on my small account, getting Cat without JMK, it really is, like, it's hard to find a maximal use for her. Like, she could add on to a team, but she's not really a driver as much as Maz Kanata is. Maz Kanata is really melting teams. I mean, GLs too. Senator Emperor, she's going to dunk on Lord Vader. I mean, depending, not dunk on, but she can beat Lord Vader even with the clones. Any kind of Sith dominates. Malgus, you're gone. Traya, you're gone. Just really, really crazy. So I gave her the nod there. But Cat, I still put it at number 3 because she is valuable, and I am assuming for this list, like, she goes with JMK, and she's really valuable with JMK, even though JMK is kind of slipping. Han, maybe I'm overrating Han. I put him in 4th above Zori, and I put him above Chewbacca. I mean, like, if I have Han head-to-head with, like, Zori, I'd take the Han, the CLS team, if they're both equally well-equipped. And that could easily go the other way, though. But just on a standalone value, I mean, he goes first, he stuns, he hits really hard. And then Chewbacca is his buddy, but just a little bit of space in between him and Zori, because Zori is still pretty impactful. I mean, she's really the lifter. That she creates that team, even without being a leader, like a Finn Zori team. And just her relative impact as the dominating force on that team, I think elevated her to S tier over a lot of these characters down here that are more supporting roles. They're solid, but they're supporting roles. Afra as the leader, and potential to kill like Jabba, and actually some defensive viability I've seen lately, although it is focused Datacron. I think she just deserved more of a nod. SM33, he's a really great supporting unit to the Pirates. I think the argument is, where do you put SM33 and where do you put Hondo if you have both Maz and Pirate King Hondo? He's really valuable, can really mess up a lot of stuff, a lot of damage. TW Crons to boot, which is nice. And then Beskar Mando, this is more of like, it was either like him or OG Hondo. And I just kind of settled on him because he's really valuable with Bo-Katan in a lot of ways. And I don't know, It's hard to say. It just kind of felt right. But I didn't want an extra character in A because that would make the center of the curve closer to like A, and then the S tier would be really small. So it was more just like a numbers choice. I mean, he's got a ship too. I've already said I don't want to count that too much. But I do. I mean, I do think he is someone worth having. And like if you're gonna have Bo-Katan go, like he's usually there with her too, even at 3v3. So this is my list. Let me know what you think. I'm sure there are things to pick apart, but I do think ultimately it was worth just getting all of these units on paper, color coded, to look at their relative usefulness, because there's so many of them, and we need to be, at least in the near term future, deciding what to do with our Scoundrels. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you later.